There's a famous story about this niche. The story goes, when the Moors conquered this city and captured it from Christians many centuries ago, they began with removing all of the Christian iconography, including a statue of the Virgin Mary that was placed in that niche. And I'm told that Christians and Muslims basically coexisted in this area, even though it was ruled by Moors, so there were still people who had the Christian faith. And being right on the sea, of course, fishing was an important part of the local economy, of a food source. And after they took the statue of the Virgin Mary down, they stopped catching fish. And so the Christians basically said to the Muslims, guys, since you took the Virgin Mary out of the arch, we've stopped catching fish. We've got to do something about this. So they replaced the statue, and of course, after that, the fish came back. My guide took me on a 2-hour-long tour, and at the end of the tour, he asked me a question. He said, everybody says, including Portuguese, that Faro is an ugly city. Nobody comes here. They say Talvira, 30 minutes to the east of here, is more beautiful, for example. He said, what do you think? And I said, well, I certainly wouldn't say it's ugly. It's really like any other really old city, particularly in southern Europe. There's parts of it where the buildings are really nice and preserved and they've kept the history, and it is really beautiful. Even some of the run-down parts of the city are still quite beautiful, this not being one of them. Not run down, I mean. And then there's other parts that are just dilapidated because, you know, that's what happens. The area is not particularly economically wealthy and you can't just keep everything looking like a museum, fair enough. But I definitely wouldn't say it's ugly. Having said that, I did notice there's a bit of a theme here. Throughout the course of recent history, some unbelievably strange decisions have been made with the way that they take care of the city. Let's start with the most glaring example. Just over there, there is what should be the remains of a Moorish castle. Instead, sometime in the 20th century, the then mayor made the decision that they needed to adapt to modern times, so they knocked down the Moorish castle and built what was supposed to be a beer factory. Apart from being incredibly fugly, apparently it was never even used as a beer factory. So basically they knocked it down for nothing. What kind of an incredibly stupid dickhead makes a decision like that? You see a lot of street art around here, some of it really pretty and some of it, you know, tags. And I asked my guide, what is the attitude of locals towards street art here? And he said, yeah, look, of course, nobody likes to see ugly tags on the side of building. However, stuff like this is very much appreciated. This is José Afonso, and it is said that popular uprising against the Salazar dictatorship really gained force when this guy's song became popular. The epicenter of the earthquake that famously destroyed Lisbon was actually just off the coast of the southwestern tip of Portugal in the Algarve. It's called Sagres. That, of course, destroyed the city of Faro as well. The beautiful open square that you're looking at the moment was actually full of buildings, residences that were destroyed by the earthquake. But the bishop that was in charge at the time of the rebuild decided to borrow some influence from what he had seen in Italy with beautiful big piazzas there. The bishop is that guy on the statue right there, by the way. So they preserved this as a big open space. And it has the effect of creating nice space, nice breathing room to draw your attention to the beautiful cathedral over my right shoulder. It used to be the site of a mosque, and when Christians took over the city again, they turned it into a church. They actually knocked down the mosque, so unfortunately you don't have, you know... That brings us to the next strange decision. I said to my guide, wow, this is a really beautiful square. Do they ever have markets here? He said, no, actually most days this is used as a car park. Most of the local government and council workers in the area park here when they come to work. You can see, speaking of cars, I really noticed when I was shooting some footage, particularly around the walls, there are cars everywhere here. If I were in charge, there would be no cars within Kui of the old town. Check out all the gold in this church. It's probably not solid gold, it's probably just a gold-plated wood carving. But any actual gold, I'll give you 3 guesses where it came from. So now, having seen the footage I've shown you of this city, you can tell me whether you think it's ugly or not. I for one certainly do not, and I absolutely do not regret having spent a couple of afternoons here and the fact that I'm about to now sit down, enjoy some food and wait for my flight home.